I'm Donna Rain Shostak, and I'm fortunate to have lived in Laguna Woods for 13 years and to have served as a director on the Third Mutual Board for the past 3 years. I've lived here long enough to appreciate our incredible community and served long enough to understand the many challenges we face. The lifestyle, facilities, and programs Laguna Woods offers are unparalleled. However, to continue offering the lifestyle we so enjoy, several things have to be considered. As our facilities and infrastructure age, maintenance needs are increasing. As treasurer of Third, I'm acutely aware of the increasing costs associated with that maintenance and the need to explore innovative strategies and ways to maintain our community at a high level while controlling maintenance costs. As chair of Third's Water Conservation Committee, I'm also keenly aware of the challenges posed by our lack of any natural underground water supply, our need to import virtually 100% of our potable drinking water, and the costs associated with transporting that water over long distances. As a Third Mutual director, I've also had the opportunity to be active on Third's Landscape and Garden Villa committees, served on GRF's Finance Committee, and also on the GRF website and ad hoc purchasing committees. I seek re-election to not only provide continuity as we address our many challenges, but also to be able to continue the work I've begun on special projects, particularly those related to water conservation, aging resources, aging infrastructure, and rising insurance costs. In particular, I hope to be able to continue to serve as chair of Third Mutual's Water Conservation Committee. As chair of that committee, I've hosted several TV6 water conservation panel discussions, helped develop educational materials, strengthened our relationship with El Toro Water District, and worked collaboratively with others across the community toward our broader goals of water conservation. And containing, very, very important, containing our mutual's costs of providing water to our community. Since those efforts began, residential water use in Third Mutual has decreased over 20%. That's something we all should be proud of. Community involvement and service has always been important to me. While I was Dean of Health Sciences and Human Services at Saddleback College until my retirement at the end of 2017, I was very involved in activities across the broader Orange County, particularly the Orange County Healthcare Agency. I also served on the board of directors of Saddleback Memorial Medical Center for 9 years. If re-elected to the Third Mutual Board, I look forward to being able to continue to work for our incredible Laguna Woods Committee as we face the future and its many challenges.
I would like to express my gratitude for taking the time to acquaint yourself with my background. Allow me to introduce myself as Dr. Deb Allen, an individual passionate about education, my community, and a diverse range of accomplishments. Throughout my career as a college instructor, I've been fortunate to receive a tuition-free education, which has enabled me to pursue numerous degrees. These include a doctorate in higher education administration, a couple of master's degrees with one in legal studies focusing on law and public policy, a couple of bachelor's degrees, an AAS degree in legal administrative assistant, and a paralegal certificate. Over the past 2 decades, I've held the role of an instructor in the legal assistant program, as well as serving as an adjunct professor in paralegal programs and legal studies at multiple colleges. Additionally, I have gained valuable experience as a store manager for Zales Corporation and owning an income tax preparation company. I currently serve on the Laguna Country United Methodist Church on their financial board. During the past year, I have been fortunate to be able to serve you in the role of a VMS board director, representing the Golden Rain Foundation. I am also a Garden Villa building captain. And the second week after I moved into Laguna Woods, I started attending GRF meetings along with their committees, Third Mutual meetings along with their committees, Garden Villa Association meetings, and Third Mutual Town Hall meetings. I have learned so much about how this community works by being on the board and attending these meetings. As revealed by the Gallup Strength Quest, my strengths lie in maximizer, strategic, achiever, and futuristic. This means I am driven to refine and enhance existing processes to achieve the best possible outcomes. I can identify solutions amidst challenges, have a strong inclination to accomplish goals, whether it includes technological advancement or process improvements. My motivation to become involved with the Third Laguna Hills Mutual stems from my previous experience as a faculty advisor to the Student Senate. In that role, I often encourage students to engage with the Student Senate to understand their institution and contribute to positive change. Similarly, as a resident of Laguna Woods, I'm urging new residents to immerse themselves in the boards and committees to comprehend their community and actively partake in its evolution. Furthermore, I have conducted qualitative and quantitative studies that have provided me with a comprehensive study and understanding of effective leadership. I embrace a servant leadership style that prioritizes the needs of others over personal gain. By valuing diverse opinions and fostering a culture of trust, I strive to empower and develop future leaders. As an advocate for residents, I recognize the significance of the Laguna Hills Mutual with responsibility of managing, operating, and maintaining all common area property. It is vital in fostering a sense of community. So in conclusion, I'm sincerely honored to have the opportunity to be considered for the position within the Third Mutual. My extensive educational background, professional experience, leadership qualities, and commitment to advocating for residents make me a strong candidate. I look forward to the possibility of contributing to the continued growth and prosperity of the Laguna Woods as a member of your community. Thank you.
Since 2014, I have been the owner and the lessor of the 2 condos in Laguna Woods and currently resided at 3104B Via Serena. During my 8 months as a member of the Third Mutual Board, I brought many concerns to various BMS directors. I was shocked by some of the response that I got. I was told that I had to get permission from the chairpersons of committee prior to contacting the BMS directors. Senior board member told me that my role as a member of the board was to serve the corporation, not the resident. However, I'm a representative of the people, by the people, for the people. I told them that my sole responsibility is to the resident, period. I pointed out that BMS directors are our employees. Third Mutual pays $12.26 to every $1 from United toward the GRF contingency and the disaster fund. Why? Many questions without any clear answer I got. I faced many challenges during my medical career. I held many leadership positions and had to navigate through challenging medical politics. I set up 2 independent physicians associations, IPA, and defended against the antitrust lawsuit in the federal and the state court, and passed a prompt payment bill to end insurance companies' abusive practice of purposefully delaying payment. I secured exclusive contract for my anesthesia groups and expanded the anesthesia service beyond the hospital setting. Various partnerships and the joint ventures I got involved to benefit hospital and the physicians. I also founded a scholarship and a charity foundation to further serve my community. This September, I plan to go on medical mission in Cambodia. Our paradise is facing various challenges: old buildings, inflation, changing laws, new technologies, bureaucratic maze, to name a few. Just maintaining the status quo is not enough. We must be proactive. So I'm running for a 3-year term to build on the experience I've gained over the past 8 months as a board member. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jules Allen. I'm a semi-retired entertainment lawyer whose clients have included Billy Joel and Willie Nelson, Van Halen, Dennis Rodman, Michael Jackson, Pete Seeger. I once even got an injunction for the Pope. No kidding. I created a novel legal procedure adopted by the entire business community that became the skeleton that Congress used to pass the Trademark Counterfeiting Act of 1984. I initiated and championed last year's wildly successful recall of this board's president and secretary, using the same argument that underlies this re-election campaign, that the board was tone deaf to its principal fiduciary obligation, the best interest of the members of this great community, not any inanimate corporation. Now let me address the so-called ground rules for this video session, rules that the candidate had no say in creating. You've been invited to this viewing under a false pretense because the folks that dreamed up this video have just one thing in mind: to distract you from the real issues in this election, which is that third is currently being run by unelected folks who don't live here, don't pay assessments, and don't know our priorities and really don't care. So you have to wonder just whose invisible hand it was that told Michaela or Paul, both of whom I like and really respect, to make the following question the sole issue we're supposed to be talking about. How are you prepared to support the work of our mutual? Well, we should tell you blindly that we'll support any cockeyed decision the board hereafter makes? Not me. So why is VMS staff asking this question? Clearly because they want to assure you that things remain the same, that the candidates will support all board decisions that regularly rubber stamp their suggestions. This is a perfect example of what I've been complaining about all along. Our board is being run by our employees, VMS staff, especially compliance, and our lawyer, and it shouldn't be that way. We are grown-ups. We should be making our own disciplinary decisions. Yet we regularly see our boards rubber stamping the disciplinary recommendations of, you guessed it, VMS staff. Their question is also irrelevant because it ignores the whole reason for this competition, which is to find out which candidate stands for what. In other words, who to vote for. My gripe is that the board is violating its fiduciary obligations by turning over many of its obligations, disciplinary obligations, to security and compliance, and to our lawyer. But they're all our employees. We shouldn't be taking orders from them. That's our job. The result has been a reign of terror that violates common sense and constitutional rights. And the worst part is that most of it occurs behind closed doors at disciplinary hearings. For example, most of the evidence is just a sheet of paper containing hearsay evidence. How do you cross-examine a sheet of paper? Members have no right to face their accusers or even know their identity. But the disciplinary panel knows compliance sends all its evidence in secret to them before the hearing. The member only sees some of that evidence. Compliance brings in witnesses after the member has left the hearing. So the member never sees any of that evidence. Members have been convicted for violating non-existing rules. Compliance outright lies to the boards. They once urged affirmance of a conviction that had previously been reversed. Compliance can seek confiscatory fines for a stinky clutter violation. They can hold a substantial fine in abeyance pending good behavior. Behave or else. These are violations of common decency and constitutional rights. But there's a simple remedy. We need a member's Bill of Rights that gives the members the same rights that every citizen living outside our gates takes for granted. And you can hasten the day that we adopt one by electing the only 4 candidates that will vote for the Bill of Rights: Andy, Brad, Moon, and yours truly. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Brad Reinhardt, and I'm a candidate to join the 3rd Mutual Board of Directors. My wife and I have been married for 41 years and bought in Laguna Woods last April. We grew up a mile from each other in Wheaton, Illinois, a western suburb of Chicago. We have 2 adult girls that are married and live in the Los Angeles area. I graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point and served as an armored cavalry officer at Fort Knox, Kentucky. I have an MBA from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I am the current CEO of a publicly traded renewable energy company that does residential and commercial solar, battery storage, EV charging, and LED lighting upgrades. We are contracted with the federal government, the state of California, LA County, the National Park Service, and the Irvine Company. My wife and I have actively managed home renovations on multiple properties, including here in Laguna Woods. So we are very familiar and very happy with residential services, alterations, landscaping, and the Laguna Woods Building Department. I have served on an HOA board, a small community of 28 custom homes on Green Valley Golf Course in Las Vegas. I've been a high school and Pop Warner football official since 1982, and am active in the Orange County Football Officials Association. I served as president of the West Point Society of Southern Nevada for several years as well. Laguna Woods is a complex property. I feel that my broad background in business and social involvement would make me an excellent contributor to the community. I also want to spearhead a renewable energy strategic plan for the community. I feel that it is an area where we have an opportunity to improve in, and I want to make sure that Laguna Woods becomes more energy independent over time. I was able to attend a portion of this week's board meeting as well. I was troubled by the potential increase in dues. I was also troubled by the suggestion that we should reduce services to reduce costs, particularly by reducing the cleaning services for the 81 Garden Terrace properties. We need to reduce costs through effective negotiation and cost control, not by reducing services. I believe that we need to be a more resident-centric community, and residents need to be more involved in self-governing this community and the costs related to operating our community. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this, and I hope I can get your vote. Have a great day.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andy Ginocchio. With my wife, Gwen, I own a condo on San Antonio near Gate 9. Been to a lot of events, used all the facilities, thoroughly familiar with the village, and I'm going to be more involved in the future. I hear you, but more importantly, I listen and learn from what you're saying, and I follow up on it. As far as my background, I hope you have that, but I've got an MBA in finance from the University of Chicago, one of the top business schools in the country, and I'm also a certified public accountant, loads of corporate experience, and I've got board experience up the wazoo. I really have a lot of board experience. It's not just something to be on the board, it's how to be on a board, and I've learned that pretty well. Additionally, before I came here, I lived in Costa Mesa for 8 years. I was on the board there. In 3 years there, I was board president, got a $1.7 million complex renovation done on time and on budget. So I know how those things work, and we've got a lot of that here. It's really helpful. Additionally, I've been on this board as an appointee for almost a year. I'm kind of hitting my stride right now. I know the various people involved, how things work, and I can be more effective if you vote for me to continue, and I hope you do. Please help me continue this work. Now, specifically, here's some items I'd like to talk about, and that is we need to keep costs down. We need to find other sources of revenue. We need to respect the clubs. The clubs are the lifeblood of this community. We need to keep them economically viable. We need to treat the various housing types here the same. In other words, if we look for cost savings from one type of housing, we need to look for it from the others, just to be fair. Although it might be easier in one case rather than others, we need to look at them all, and I promise you we'll do that. In terms of activities, I'm all for inclusion. Beginners are welcome. Everybody's been a beginner at one time. We need to ensure our clubs and all our facilities welcome beginners. Additionally, mobility impaired people, we need to make accommodations for them. Someday, many of us will be that way, and it's just fair that they be allowed to partake of all the activities in the community. It's just fair. Additionally, I think we need better lighting. The streets are really dark in some places, and I understand the charm thing, but there's a safety issue. We have to prevent falls. Falls are terrible. Additionally, we need more curb cutouts. Even though ADA doesn't apply to us because we're a private community, there's a lot of good stuff with the ADA that we ought to be doing. Regarding our disciplinary rules enforcement policy, it's kind of harsh. And I think we need to look at that in detail and get it more skewed towards the resident. Presumption of innocence, if you get what I'm talking about. Due process. Davis Sterling, follow Davis Sterling. We need to look at it in detail, and I promise you we will. Finally, I think that we need to insist that VMS and GRF be as efficient as possible, and there's accountability. In my corporate career, and I'm a HOA and board committees, I know how to do that, and I will do that if you give me another chance and you elect me. So in closing, I like to say that I'm very prepared to be a board of director, but preparation's not enough. You have to execute properly. And I have a track record of that. I ask you to continue to support me, vote for me. Thank you.